Hello, good afternoon. The graveyard slot after lunch. Oh, interaction, that is fantastic. Awesome, guys. Welcome to what did the Microsoft development stack in my Azure ever do for my enterprise? I'm not sure whether you guys really know Python, you know, the whole sort of what have the Romans ever done for us, apart from the system of laws, the aqueducts, you know, that kind of thing. This is trying to get across how really fit for purpose the modern Microsoft stack, UWP apps, Xamarin, Azure is for large, heavyweight, mission-critical line of business apps. Because it's a set of conversations I have with customers all the time, and nobody ever believes me. So, who am I? My name is Rick Hepworth. I am a Chief Consulting Officer at a company in the UK called Black Marble. By night, I am an Azure MVP, and by day, my job is going around customers, helping them to look at their applications, work out how they can bring them to the cloud, work out how they can modernize them, make them more appealing, all of that kind of stuff. So the company that I work for is one that has won quite a lot of awards for the application I'm going to talk about. So this is the only slide you're going to see with any sort of logos and things on. I'm not going to bang on about what the application's called. I'm putting this out merely to try and show you that we do walk the walk, not just talk the talk. We actually have got something in production that proves that we kind of know what we're talking about when it comes to this stuff. And what I'm going to be talking about is an application that we developed for UK policing. And it's a story of mobilization, trying to allow officers to work remotely, largely wherever they were. It's a story about digitization, where we're trying to remove paper forms. We're trying to change the way people work. And all of this is in a line of business enterprise application, not a big multi-million-dollar SaaS app or anything like that. So I want to start by going back to the guy that actually kicked all of this off. So this chap is called Simon Parr. He was the chief constable at Cambridgeshire Constabulary when we started the project. And he came to us with a pretty simple aim, which, let's face it, if you work in line of business apps, having somebody with a vision and a simple aim is pretty unusual, right? And he said, I want to allow police officers to make better decisions. To enable them to make better decisions, I want to give them access, wherever they are, whenever they need it, to the information that will help them make those decisions and share it with their colleagues, because by doing that, we'll allow them to make the right decision at the right time and save lives. And we went, yeah, that sounds like a fairly straightforward ask. Honest. The end result of that, when we'd finished, is a UWP stroke modern stroke store stroke call it whatever we're calling it today application. Built in .NET, XAML UI, and a service layer which when we designed the project was locked into on-premise. And one of the things I want to talk about was how we tried to help our customer pick the right design choices, knowing they were locked into on-prem, but we knew they were going to have to move to cloud or would want to move to cloud in a few years' time. So part of this session is about how do you do that as a line of business app developer working with your customer. And we also needed to deliver integration with other systems. A police officer can't work without access to their crime system, information so they can look up car registration numbers, look up information on people, past criminal history, that kind of stuff. And above all else, we had to make it so it could be used on a whole range of devices in a whole range of different places with as little training as possible, all the usual asks of miracles. So, when we started this, I'll pause and ask a ranging question. So how many of you here are sort of internal developers working within an enterprise for internal customers? Okay, and how many of you are sort of working for software development shops that might be going in as sort of jobbing devs, if you like, a bit like we are, and going and writing stuff on demand? Okay, none of you. So how many of you don't like putting your hands up when people at the front ask questions? All right. So one of the things that you have to do is try and work out not what the customer says they want, but what do they actually need. And in the beginning, we had this wonderful conversation with some very, very senior officers with lots and lots of silver and metal on their arms and collars and all over the things. And they said, we want to copy all of the paper forms we've got and all of the electronic forms that we currently have to fill in the station and make it so we can fill them in outside. And we went, do you really? Do you really want to take that existing process, which means I have to rekey into about 14 different systems, and it takes me 20 minutes just to write a couple of people's names in there? Do we really want to take that and replicate it when we've got to build this thing from scratch, and it's new technology, and we're putting it on people's mobile phones where they're used to, Facebook and Twitter and touch-friendly interfaces? So there's the old adage in consulting where you keep asking why until you get to the money. We kept asking why until we worked out what their needs were. And that's, if you take no other lessons from this, and you didn't know it already, that is the first big thing of line of business apps. The customer knows ultimately in their heart of hearts what they're trying to do, but they never articulate that. They solutionize, and they come to you with what they think they want, which is almost invariably wrong, and we all have to diplomatically wind them back to where they started. We've all been there, right? So we needed to make something that was going to allow the force to be more efficient, more effective. They were facing budget cuts, but they didn't want to cut operational policing, so they had to be able to work out how to do more with less. They needed to be able to make sure that there was a visible police presence. So having officers coming back to stations was never really going to work for them. They needed them to be mobile and out there. Simon once said to me that he'd be far happier if an officer was sat in Starbucks doing his work and somebody complained saying, oh, look, there's an officer just having a coffee. But the fact that somebody had seen him means that a potential criminal has seen him and won't commit the crime because they're aware that there are police officers about. And having them not need to come back to station to do mundane clerical tasks was really important to them. And part of this was almost an excuse, if you like, to take a broom to the old processes. I once worked for a really interesting chap who every 6 months or so he'd pick a different process and say, why do we do this in this way? And if the answer came back, well, that's the way we've always done it, he'd go, I think it's time we reviewed that process, don't you? And we managed to get a lot of people on board to allow us to really look at what those processes were and look at outcomes and goals, not existing journeys. And that's also important. We were also trying to eliminate all of this duplication. All of this, I type it into one system and I copy and paste it into another because the law of Chinese whispers comes in then, that what I typed in over here is not what I typed in over here. And how do I know that the 14 Rick Hepworths are all me? God, 14 versions of me. Imagine the peril. So, the other thing, the really, really big one, most line of business apps that we find don't take into account the needs of the actual people using it because it's designed by middle management. And middle management don't actually perform the tasks that the system is designed to do. So when it gets handed out to the users, they hate it. We spent a long time working our way through our customer and finding champions. And we pulled them into the process and we sat them down and we told them what we were thinking about. I've got a slide in UX in a sec, which I'll explain more. But basically we said, what are your operational problems? You're out in the field. You're doing this stuff. This chief super hasn't done it for 10 years. What's difficult? What do we need to fix? What kind of tools do you need? And we talked to them for quite a long time during that initial design process while we were working out what we were going to build. And if you think about it, certainly as a police officer, what they want is actually pretty straightforward. I want to be safe. I want to be able to do my job and be alerted to potential danger. And I want to be able to protect the public that I am tasked with protecting while I'm doing that. I need to be able to have the information I need when I'm on a call, but you have to remember as developers that, I don't know what it's like in Florida, but you go to the Everglades, right? I assume in the Everglades it's impossible to find a phone signal, yeah? So we have the Cambridgeshire Fens and the North York Moors and all that kind of stuff around by us. So I might have connectivity in the station or possibly in the car, but as soon as I leave that environment, I no longer have any data. I need to be able to access the information I need. I need to be able to gather new information and then seamlessly, without me having to take an action, have that information synchronized with the back-end systems. And we need to be mindful of the fact that if I'm disconnected, I might not be able to ask for help. So if we've gathered that information and cached it, and there's anything in there that we can use to alert you to potential danger, to change the way you're going to respond to a situation, we need to be able to present it to you clearly and effectively and fairly bluntly. So little obscure icons, not a goer, vibrating the device and making lots of noise, also ironically possibly not a goer. So vibration, as it turns out, is what we needed to do because I can see Steve in the audience. Steve, you're a bad one. I mean, you're always a knife-carrying maniac, right? So I need to know that Steve's got his dagger with him. But I can't alert Steve because he's really paranoid, and if he's off his meds, then that's, you know. So we tried to make relatively discrete vibration noises to alert you, and then if you popped it up, we'd give you very clear iconography to show you what the potential danger was. So we didn't then alert the people around you and start scaring them. And that was an interesting nuance that we hadn't thought about until we worked with the end users. Which segues nicely into the user experience. In a modern application environment, you've got to get the users involved. Paper prototyping, focus groups, building mock-ups is really important. And the days are gone where we could do really, really, really dense pages and forms of information. We need to be lightweight. We need to present what's important and allow people to drill down rather than have to deal with this really confusing morass of fields. We have to be quick. We need to be responsive. If I hit a button, I don't want to have to sit there thinking, well, is it working? Is it not working? Do I just keep hammering this thing for 15 minutes till it decides to respond? So we got our designers involved in the conversation. And like I said, the first thing we did was a whiteboarding exercise where we started talking about the concepts. And the second thing we did was we built some paper prototypes. And then we started building XAML mock-ups, which we then started to put the code behind as we built. And the first thing we started to do was to throw away this idea of a form. You won't find a form anywhere in the application. Everything is we use like a little card metaphor. So all of the information that comes from all the disparate systems, we transform into a standard set of entities, person, object, location, event, and we have very clear imagery and iconography for those, and we present everything in a very standard, uniform way, so that once you've got the hang of what it looks like, a person looks exactly the same on every single screen you're working on. What that means is we were designing with the idea of minimizing the training overhead. We want you to be able to just pick this thing up, go, oh yeah, okay, I can figure that out, and off you go. And because of that bit at the bottom, we effectively threw away all of the paper processes. And what we actually said was, okay, well, if you were in the field and you were doing I don't know, stop search, what do we have to do in what sequence? And how can we help you by turning that into a flow within the application? And occasionally, you'd wander into a dev office, and they'd be standing there as they were doing a fake stop search and saying, excuse me, sir, I need you to empty your pockets, and all this kind of stuff, so they could work through the flow. Because we need to understand what our users are doing, right? All right, so how do we tackle the development of this thing? So I should cough for this and say we actually started this project in the Windows 8.1 days. And we had all of that really nice sort of UI guidance for Windows 8.1. And we had Windows Phone as a potential target application. So effectively what we tried to do was divide the app up into a set of pillars. that we tried to keep in mind as we were doing the architecture and the design. So for example, integrity is really important because at the end of the day, the data we're capturing has to be used in court. So we had to think about how we were going to store that information, encrypt that information. We actually, we cryptographically sign everything that's gathered at the point that it's gathered so we can prove that it's not been tampered with from that point of entry. And we persist all of that from front end through to back end. So that was an interesting engineering task. We also had to think about connectivity. More than just though I'm online or I'm offline, we needed to look at how much bandwidth have we got. Because the information we're trying to synchronize covers everything from videos through to photos, through to a couple of lines of text, and importantly also covers emergency messaging backwards and forwards. So we wrote a connectivity monitor within UWP that would allow us to decide how much bandwidth we'd got, and we prioritize all of the traffic going through the app. If memory serves, actually one of the guys that works for me put some of that into the Windows Community Toolkit, so it's there for you to use. And obviously, we were trying to continually think about digitization, so we built an extensible object model inside the application, and we have pluggable modules as forces come along and say we've got a new system or we've got a new set of processes or things. As a sort of a top-level architecture-ish, if you squint diagram, that's kind of what it looks like. So basically what we built this lot, this reliable service layer. Now, when we were architecting that, the UK police said, cloud? No. But we said, well, okay, but you're probably going to want to through the life of the app, and we really don't want to have to rebuild this thing. And one of the big design principles, and I say it now to all of my customers who are locked on-prem, is for every design decision we took, every technology decision we took, we said, is that going to lock off cloud migration and mean we have to do a boatload more work? And if the answer was yes, we went, go pick another technology. Above that, we've got this enterprise-grade mobile application. So why did we pick UWP for that? When Windows 8 came out, we actually did a whole load of engagement and advocacy for Microsoft around UWP. We did a lot of work with enterprises, helping them build sort of lightweight line of business apps. And nobody believes that UWP is fit for purpose for a line of business app. They all just dive straight back into WPF and Win32. And I don't really know why that is, because when we picked this, it brought a whole load of stuff for free, which I'll talk about in a little while. And that was really important to us because we could stand on the shoulders of Microsoft and we could say to our customer, we've chosen the ADAL library for authentication against an ADFS OAuth 2 server. A, because it gives us some choice moving forward, but B, because, well, they're going to invest a whole lot more money in writing that than we possibly could. We trust that, we trust them, we'll use those libraries. The UWP framework is completely cross-device. So because we weren't sure what emergent requirements the police force were going to have, that was actually going to be quite helpful to us. And as it turns out, that was a good choice. The Windows Phone port took 2 weeks just to modify some of the screens to be better at a smaller resolution. HoloLens arrived and just worked for no work whatsoever. And if you put it on a Surface Hub, it looks glorious. Trying to do that on a Win32, well, you can't. I mean, you can't get a Win32 app on a HoloLens or a Surface Hub for a start. So you can sort of see the thought process we were going through here. The only decision we took that was not a straightforward path to the cloud was this reliable integration layer. So for our sins, we are BizTalk specialists. BizTalk, the most exciting product in the Microsoft arsenal. Fantastic data transformation engine. At the time we started the project, there really wasn't a cloud analog. Logic apps was sort of coming, but not really there. And we need to have a very robust and very performant integration layer. Now, as logic apps are much more battle-hardened and they've got a lot more features coming in that tie into what we're doing, we're starting to put an eye on how we might do that migration from BizTalk to logic apps as our customers transition into the cloud. So even then, we sort of had an eye on which direction we might be going and tried to avoid causing ourselves any grief. Why do we do that? So, unfortunately, the information that we're dealing with, as if any of you have dealt with sort of American law enforcement, federal cloud, that kind of stuff, it's kind of sensitive. You know, I'm gathering evidence for crimes. When we started the project, there was no UK data center. And they went, I'm sorry, you can't put UK criminal evidence into Amsterdam. You can't even really put it in Dublin, because that's not UK either. So that one got closed off. The other issue that we had was we are connecting to shared policing systems. And that takes a secure, very difficult to get connected to network. And plugging that into Azure was just virtually impossible. But we still had to bear in mind that we needed to be scalable, we had to be reliable, and we had to be manageable. And that's partly why we picked the technologies we did, because to a certain extent, a simple choice is a better choice if you've then got to deal with these things. So what were those choices? IIS is so tested and kicked around, it is untrue. So we're fairly confident if we host our stuff in IIS, it's going to work, right? So again, there was no .NET Core, there was no .NET Standard, so we started with .NET 4 point whatever it was at the time. But even then we knew, because we were building in .NET, because we were deploying with web deploy, that we could just pivot and push that web deploy package up to app services. And while we were developing, every now and again we'd test that and we'd make sure it worked. And if it didn't, we'd look at what we'd just done and we might change things to make sure it worked in the cloud, even though at the time we were never going to run it in the cloud. Windows services were a slightly more interesting one. But as it turns out, you can just upload a console app and run it as a web job. So all of our Windows services, we developed with switches on the command line so we could start them as a console app. The devs liked that anyway, because then they could start and stop them for dev environments and testing and that kind of stuff. So that was a bonus. But again, it meant we could just pick up those X's, drop them in app services, fire them up, and they worked. Now, okay, now, 4 or 5 years later, I'm sitting here telling people that they need to go Azure Functions and Logic Apps and front it with APIM and that kind of stuff. But that's okay. We can build that as a direction of travel if we want to, and start teasing some of those things apart and transitioning to functions if we want to. We also picked SignalR for all of our two-way comms, which means I'm kind of excited that they've now got SignalR as a managed Azure service, because if you've ever had to manage SignalR, it can get interesting sometimes. And the one thing that has caused us some slight issues, if you like, is Service Bus. Because Service Bus for Windows, which was at the time completely supported, is basically now end of life. But again, we picked it because we knew there was a cloud analog. And again, actually, to be fair, because of the way we use message topics and queues and subscriptions and that kind of stuff, nothing else is quite that model. So even now, as we're sort of trying to decide whether we continue with this on-prem or look for something else, we're sort of squinting and going, not quite sure. We'd prefer to move to the cloud. We knew we were going to need a caching layer. Azure had Redis. You can see the pattern. All of those technology choices were made with an eye for the future, even though we were choosing, if you like, in the present. And we did the same for the client app. And we did all of that largely actually based on the end user experience, because we wanted that right device, right place, right time. So if you watch people using this thing, police forces deploy in different ways. So one of the forces that we've got, they only deploy from cars. So what they have is all of the officers have an 8-inch tablet. And they actually got a pocket on their tack vest that's just the right size. So they drop the tablet in the tack vest, they get out of the car, and off they go. We've got some officers who are beat officers. They get dropped off in the morning and they walk around all day. They're using phones. Senior officers that are in the station, they've got convertible laptops because they do more clerical work as well. The app itself is completely unchanged across all of those. And that means that as people progress through the ranks or change roles based on shift, there's no relearning to do. It's a completely learn once common set of skills. And that's really important. When we first rolled this out, we'd only got a really small feature set. So we basically replaced an officer's pocket notebook, which allowed them to sort of take notes and take photos and things. And even that didn't have all the functionality we were aiming for, saved them half an hour per officer per day. If you cost that up, basically the time saving pays for the development work. Now, it has been a journey. I will not deny that, because we started on 8.1, and then they rolled to Windows 10, and all the controls changed. So we did a bit of engineering work. And then they updated Windows 10 and the controls changed, so we did a bit of engineering work. But in fairness, it has been far smoother than if we were having to completely retool or rework a Win32 app and move that one forward. From a developer point of view, it has been brilliant because front-end and back-end use exactly the same language. It's all C#. It's exactly the same core technologies. It's exactly the same concepts. So our developers can move with a fair amount of fluidity around the project. And I don't have to worry about upskilling. And what we hadn't realized at the time was that Windows Phone was not the dynamic, all-conquering hero we were expecting it to be. So our police force customers are mostly Android. As it turns out, that Android port was made far easier because we built a UWP app. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And the other one I'll mention, authentication. We could have built this with native Active Directory auth. We're running on a VPN or direct access. That would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been future-proof. We deliberately chose to use ADFS and ADAL because, again, we knew that we could just switch that authentication endpoint and move to Azure. And it would save us time in the long run. So I want to talk a little bit about multi-platform migration. In terms of what we had originally, we'd got a single solution with 36 projects in it, and we built this thing with largely the anniversary update as a target. Now, those 3 bullet points don't really give you the pain of this thing. We got over 500 views in this thing. We're using hundreds of custom controls because we need to extend a lot of the controls to include validation and that kind of stuff. And when we first wrote this, all of our code was written without necessarily the eye to an ongoing future migration to Android, so we're using Windows API calls. So when we came to cross-plat, admittedly, fortunately, we have a Windows Dev MVP who knows the Android guys, so we could at least sit down with him and say, okay, this is where we are, this is where we want to be, what do you recommend? And we did some experimentation, we did a couple of sort of spike engineering projects. And we realized that even now, in fairness, Xamarin Forms is great if you are Twitter and you have a couple of controls and a lightweight UI. If you are a honking great line of business app where UI performance is absolutely right up there on your priority list, Xamarin Forms is not really your friend. So we chose to use the native Android UI. And what that meant was that we were going to have to rebuild all of the views on our UI layer. But at least we didn't need to build the back end. Now, what that meant in the short term was a humongous extension of how many projects we got in this thing. As you can see, it went up to well over 100 projects. And that's because when we started, .NET Standard wasn't here, so we built portable class libraries. The thing that really bit us was finding what the Android analog of the Windows API was. And we realized quite early on that if we were going to replace all of those Windows calls with Android calls, that was going to make code maintenance and management of the project moving forward a complete nightmare. So what we did was spun up a side project, if you like, where we started to create cross-plat Windows APIs that fronted up all of those Android APIs. And James has made that available as an open source project. So if you're in the same position as us, where you want to just make calls to things like windows.storage or windows.devices, he's got a solution for you there that you can include that'll give you a nice wrapper. Bluntly, the time taken to build that, again, saved us a huge amount of time in our engineering migration. Now, ironically, as we kind of nearly finished the Android port, one of the things that we found was that our customers are not necessarily on the bleeding edge of Windows because they want to test these things. So we're lagging a version or two behind. We discuss with the customer how we're going to move forward between versions and why and what new APIs or what new features we're going to get out of it. So we have now upgraded to use the full creators update, target that. And that means that we can now use .NET Standard. And that means that all of that huge project bloat can now be contained back down to 30 projects. And the other thing that we're trying to do is componentize that project. So we're building NuGet packages, and then we're including those in the overall application. So we're trying to sort of tease it apart a bit because, frankly, it's just getting quite large. It takes a long time to build, and different bits of the code are revving at different cadences. So it sort of makes sense to do that. It gives us some benefits. The overall benefit of this, the overall benefit of choosing Xamarin and not trying to rewrite all of this stuff across plat means now our iOS port is going to be really easy. Yes, we're going to have to rebuild the UI, but we've done all of that work for the lower layer, which means literally we just scrape the Android off and wipe the iOS on. So it's going to be a few months rather than the 12 months of effort that big Android port took us. And what we are really striving to do is to make sure that all of those releases are in sync. We've agreed with the customer that there's never going to be a Windows feature that is not in step with an Android feature, because then we can keep that single code base, no random forks and branches and mucking about, which allows us to make it more reliable. So, coming back to what I was saying at the start, the aim of this was hopefully to try and instill you guys with this sense of confidence that you can move forward from all of that Win32 goodness that we know and love into the new millennium and accept UWP and plot a course from all those on-prem technologies that your managers are insisting you're using because they don't like cloud right now, and think about how you're going to transition the internal application so it's cloud ready, which means you won't have to do a huge amount of rework as somebody then goes, right, and now we've decided we're going to use Azure and we'd like to shift everything by next Tuesday, please. Because let's face it, we really don't want to have to manage IaaS. Friends don't let friends do IaaS because then we have to patch all of our servers. Pause, ranging question. How many devs in the room? Okay, how many IT pros? You really don't like putting your hands up. I was about to say the devs are outnumbered, but actually the people who don't like putting their hands up are by far the largest block. So I'm tricky because the devs know I'm not a dev, but the IT pros think I am. But I will say this and get bottled off the floor. Let's face it, devs don't patch machines. You don't, do you? You know, you install stuff you're using Chocolatey or you do a next finish. And if it's a dev environment, well, IT will come along and patch it at some point. And IT are going, no, man, that's not ours. That's owned by dev. We ain't touching that. And 2 years later, it's still as it was. No updates, no patches. We want to try and avoid that. We want to go IaaS. So when you're making your architecture choices, as you're starting to look to redesign those things, always have that. How am I going to run this in IaaS if I put it in the cloud? Because I really don't want to run it on a virtual machine. So I've got some numbers in a sec, but I wanted to put this one up. So Andy Jipp was a really scary guy, because it turns out in a past life he was a hairdresser, so an interesting meeting was mostly talking about how wonderful my hair was and not what the application was supposed to do. But there you go. They had never been through the experience that we took them through. They'd only ever had that traditional high-level requirements, show me your existing processes, and we might echo back what the forms in the application might look like journey. They'd never had the, we're thinking we might show things on the page like this, and we're thinking that might be that icon, and we want to sort of swipe left and right. So we've got a bunch of paper here, and we'd like you to imagine it's a tablet, and I want you to just tap on things. And he sort of looked at us like we were completely crazy. But by the time we'd taken him through that journey, and by the time we'd started delivering things, he realized just how connected he was to the end product, and how much closer the end product was to what he actually wanted. And that's nothing to do with we're working in 2-week sprints and we're demoing everything at the end of the week. It's about really getting the customer engaged and getting that connection into their mind to work out what it is that they need. And we were really pleased that he enjoyed it and thought it worked out so well. So, apart from the roads, the aqueducts, the system of laws, what has the Microsoft stack ever done for us? The application that we've built is now in use by about 10,000 police officers across 4 forces in the UK. It has totally transformed the way that they work. To give you a couple of random examples, and I love them because it wasn't how we intended it to work. In an officer notebook, I can do things I could never do with paper. I can take photos, I can take videos, I can put notes in. We threw this out at the police and just said, go wild, use it, give us feedback. And a bunch of police officers started taking photos of graffiti. And they started putting notes on the pictures as to who the graffiti artist was. And one of the principles inside this app is everything is searchable. We can lock things down to be private if we need to, but Simon right at the start said he wanted information to be available to make better decisions. These guys built a fully searchable graffiti database on an app that we'd never intended to be a fully searchable graffiti database in a couple of days. And they thought it was great. And then they realized that searching would help them even more, because if I arrest somebody, I take Steve into custody. I have, as an officer, a whole load of notes. Why did I stop Steve? Why have I taken him into custody? What have I done? And a senior officer has to review my notes effectively to tell me that, yes, it's a good arrest. You're okay. You can carry on. The process for doing that was I walk into a police station in Peterborough, and I make a phone call to my sergeant, who is in Cambridge, which is a 40-minute drive. He gets in the car, he drives to Peterborough. He comes and reads a page of A4, what I have written, Gov. He goes, yes, gets back in the car, drives back to Cambridge. In the new system, I said, if you look at this record in my notebook, you can see what I've done. And he would pick up his coffee, put his feet on his desk, look at that record in Cambridge, say yes, and immediately save himself an hour and a half. You can kind of see where we're going with this, can't you? The overall transformation has been incredible, not because we intended it to be, but because we've allowed officers to change the way they work to work the way they'd like to. If they make an arrest at a football match, the officer doesn't have to go back to the station anymore. They can send the person back in a wagon, and then the officer just spends a couple of minutes typing some stuff in on site, and then he's back into policing. So we've managed to deliver what Simon said he wanted, which is to do more with less, have more visible policing out there on the beat. Like I say, even with a really, really feature-limited release, we saved 30 minutes per officer per day. Now we're saving them days because they can exchange information in real time. And we've totally changed the way they work. The scary one that keeps me awake, though, and you don't really think about this. You're writing line of business apps, and I spend my life going, it's like it's an insurance company. It's a quotation form. Yay. Fantastic. I am responsible for saving people £10 on their insurance. That makes me feel good. However, being told by somebody that my application is responsible for the public safety of about 12 million people gives you both a warm, fuzzy feeling and really keeps you awake at night. Which brings me back to, I am comfortable that the technology choice we have picked is that. So for those of you that don't believe UWP can be a honking great enterprise class app, here's some stats about the app. So we looked at a couple of different approaches for how we were going to do MVVM, and in the end we picked MVVM Lite by Laurent Bugnon. We have nearly 400,000 lines of C# in our client and another 200,000 in the service layer. We've got over 700, when you gather them together, custom controls and pages, and we've so far got over 300 Android custom controls and pages. We're only using UWP for the Windows app. We're using Xamarin Android UI for the Android app, XAML UI for Windows, which means we get scalability, we get total consistency. And for us, the key bit is that thing at the bottom. We run on all Windows 10 devices. Coolest demo I ever saw was completely accidental. We were trying to show the app to Microsoft, to some execs at a conference. And as you do, my Surface didn't work. My MD's Surface didn't work. My dev director didn't have a PC with him. But he said, oh, all right, hang on a minute. Got his HP X3 phone out, fired at the app, looked at the Surface Hub next to him, connected to the Surface Hub via WiDi, at which point it put the app on the screen, transformed from mobile view to large view. He put the phone down on the desk and ran the whole demo using touch on the Surface Hub. The total engineering effort we had to do to enable that was absolutely nothing. And every time Microsoft throw new devices out, our engineering effort to support them is absolutely nothing. Do that with your Win32 app, Project Centennial and all. So, I've got a couple of minutes left. To wrap up, the learnings I really want you to take away. UWP is really capable of being an enterprise-class line of business app. It has been for years. People just don't believe it. The best choice we made was making sure we architected the back end, thinking that we might want to go to cloud. Because frankly, now we are. We're working with other police forces around the world that are quite happy moving to cloud. If we hadn't done that, that would have been really painful. UWP gives you things on Windows that you'd have to build yourself on Win32 and WPF. Inking support, touch support, multiple device support, zero engineering effort. And they're features that really delight the users and really add to the experience. And finally, you cannot underestimate the power of the point at the bottom. Because we are using the same technology stack across front-end and back-end and several platforms, our team is able to take advantage of transferable skills and knowledge. And the front-end guys are talking to the back-end guys in exactly the same language. Technology language, English language, conceptual language, and all of that has really, really helped us have a smooth running project. Okay, wow, I'm running pretty much to time. That's pretty good. So I'm not rushing away. I'm happy to take questions. You might sit there thinking, well, he's not done any demos. I've deliberately not done any demos because I don't want this to be a sales session for our app. I want this to try and be an advocacy session for the technology. I do have it with me. If you're really interested, I can show it to you. But as we roll on to close, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody feel like raising their hand? Absolutely no one. Well, in which case, I would like to thank you very much for your time. This has been my first time speaking at Ignite, and it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, and I will let you out, 1 minute and 30 glorious seconds early. Thank you.